Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Accountant for our weekly episode. Aaron, it's working. We're live on Instagram.
I know, a whole new platform, a whole new people to annoy on a Monday morning, eh? What more do we want in life?
For those that have moved from Facebook or any platform to avoid us, we're coming for you. We're here. Don't panic. Yep. But yes, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ask the Accountant. It is the 18th of December, 2023. Oh, year's nearly done, Aaron. This is episode number 61. And of course, I'm here today with my co-host, Mr. Aaron Patrick. Aaron, how was your week and weekend?
It was a good weekend. It was good. I mean, I'm injured. My throat's not doing too well. But yeah, it was good. It was probably your idea of how we've already had this conversation, right? So producer Lizzie, she took the reins this year for our Christmas do at Boffics. So we had a nice organised fun with producer Lizzie, which was absolutely brilliant. We really enjoyed it. We gave the team the opportunity to pick anywhere in the UK, and they chose Nottingham. So it was a good night.
We're an adventurous lot, this lot in Derby.
Yeah, exactly. We got to play a bit of mini golf and had a bite to eat at TGI's, and yeah, it was a good night. Had by all. The problem was on the way to mini golf, I went over my ankle, so I spent the rest of the mini golf or the rest of the night hobbling around, and I've been doing the same this weekend. And it was particularly bad timing because I went to see the Fillers last night, which was good, and they were actually at the same thing as we were, the same Edinburgh gig, because one of the songs they chose to sing was "We Have the Whole of the Moon." So,
oh right.
Yeah, very good. They did their own rendition of that. So, yeah, very good. It's a yearly tradition for us in Derby. The Fillers come every single time just before Christmas. So, yeah, good times. What about you, Jan? Have a good weekend?
What did I do? I had a quiet weekend. I did a bit more pottering and tweaking of things in the office space. So I've got sound panels arriving today. Got another light come in, retwigged where the cameras sit and stuff. So it's becoming a bit of a project, this man cave of mine. I'm quite enjoying it, but it's costing me a fortune. So yeah, and then cooked dinner for the mother-in-law and the wife for both days, and very chilled out weekend. I'm very much getting ready for this Christmas break malarkey. Not that I'm really going to have much time off over it, but I'm going to certainly slow down for it. Put it that way. So yeah, no, it was really good. So on this week's show, what are we going to discuss? Well, we're going to have a look ahead and look at 2024 and the bits that we know are semi-public, like there's no NDAs being broken, but we're really excited about these features coming in different softwares. I've got some news as always to go through, and we are also going to be announcing our first gig of the year, shall we say? No. Well, can we announce 2 gigs of the year?
Let's not do that other one yet, just in case.
Oh, suspense, people. But yes, so let's crack on with the news before we get into the future look of the looking glass, shall we say, getting the crystal ball out. We'll say hello to all of our audience first, though, that are coming in on the comments. So Cheryl Stone, thank you, Cheryl, for commenting at 8:30 this morning, because it came through and went, oh crap, we need to go live. We were too busy chatting away. So thank you for reminding us we weren't live yet. That was really helpful. Good morning to Kirsty. Good morning to Louise. Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Ashley. Loving the hats. Oh, yes, these have been our December fixture, haven't they? So, yeah, good morning to Paul and good morning to Jane. Thank you very much. Guys, if there's any topics you'd want us to, or you want our opinions on, then please stick them in the chat.
Please do today. We're scraping the barrel.
It's a quiet week for the news, but that's all right. We can filibuster. It's fine. We're very good at that. Probably too good to be fair. But yes. So first bit of news, Aaron, and The only reason I want to cover this one really is I don't care about the technicalities, as it were, but I know what the attitude is of the accounting and bookkeeping space, and they're going to use this, a majority of the industry, to justify banning AI in our industry. And I think it's complete rubbish. Just because of one idiot, we shouldn't have to listen to this. So, last week, HMRC threw out a tribunal case after it realised the judge threw out the tribunal case after he realised that all 6 case precedents that were put before him by the taxpayer, who was, I believe, representing themselves just to save a bit of money.
As you do.
As you do. I mean, that, when they're skimping already, it's never going to go well, is it? But the judge discovered that all 6 case precedents that the taxpayer was using were fictitious. They had been made up by ChatGPT and had no grounding or relevance. So automatically, the old guard of the accounting and bookkeeping space is like, well, this is why AI shouldn't be used in accounting. This is why it's wrong. We can't trust it, blah, blah, blah. I just want to put my stamp on this and just say, this is a uninformed member of the general public, a taxpayer who was already cutting corners, and that's probably why, didn't want to pay for an accountant, ended up in a tax tribunal, didn't want to pay for a lawyer, did his own defense using ChatGPT. That should not be the argument for not progressing AI in the accounting and bookkeeping space. Right. But I know I've already seen so many comments of people going, this is exactly why we shouldn't use it in the space. It's like, no, it was used by an idiot. Like, if a qualified and knowledgeable person uses ChatGPT for various reasons to help them in their job, then that's great. Now, would I ask ChatGPT to research case precedents for me without checking it first? No. This person obviously did. But there's no reason why you can't put the case precedents that you've done the research for into ChatGPT and ask it to structure a defense based on these and, do the script, as it were. Or ask it in-depth questions about it. So, yeah, I just saw it and just went, oh, God, here we go again. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
Well, for me, it comes back down to the bad apple, doesn't it? So, I'll give you a little story. I went over to York for work this week, see one of potential practice that we're looking to acquire and see if we can help them and all that sort of stuff. On the way back from York, I got probably the worst message I've ever seen in my life come up on those little, those boards, what they call the matrix boards.
Mm-hmm.
So the matrix board itself said, please slow down to 20 miles an hour because there's oncoming vehicle. Basically, there was a vehicle on our side of the road coming the wrong way up the motorway. So not the sort of message you want to see when you're driving along coming back. So for me, this is the same sort of thing, right? It's one bad apple. So just because there was one bad apple going the wrong way up a motorway, does that mean none of us should be driving anymore? Should we all stop driving? Is that how we do it? Or do we put controls and we put stuff in place like the Matrix, like the police and traffic cops and everything else, so that it can be a safe and easy to and trustworthy place? And it's just going to be the same thing, isn't it? We're always going to get bad apples. It doesn't matter what we do and how we police it. There's always going to be people that are going to take the software, take the AI and do things that probably they shouldn't do with it. But for the majority of us who are going to use it for the right ways and going to check it before we do it, it's going to be a tool that's going to revolutionize. That being said, I mean, is it Pixie still looking for ways to implement AI? Maybe this could be the way they they do it. How to defend your tax cases.
Use of AI in Pixie and Carbon.
Yeah, I can see the Countex 2024 banners now. So yeah, look, we're going to expect it. I mean, it's a great story to push out there because it shows where it can go wrong. But at the end of the day, if this person was unwilling to pay for advice and unwilling to pay for anything else, it's almost in the nicest possible way. It almost feels, like that's justice served, isn't it? Because if he had paid for
and
advice,
you know what?
at least they
Probably
would have
not in
checked it.
Chat GPT-4 because he wouldn't have been willing to pay 20 quid a month for it. So he wouldn't have had internet access. But yeah, I'm just going to say we are live on Instagram, and the comments aren't feeding through to our normal comment board. So I will have to keep upping and downing to the different feeds. But Kirsty Accounting and Bookkeepers Detox and Sanjay have all joined us on Instagram Live. And Kirsty says, yes, live on Instagram. It's like, yeah, there we go. We are literally this feature only came live so we use StreamYard to stream to the nation. But this feature literally came live, yesterday?
Yeah, or the day before, but yeah.
It was a bit of a fiddle to get it to work. It's a bit of a backdoor way they've built it. Instagram have not made it easy, but we've made it work. The only thing that we haven't got is comments, so we're just going to need to keep an eye on those as we go through. But on the other comments, we've got Ashley saying, oh no, I've missed that many. Ashley, you have been absent without leave for quite a few weeks, if I'm honest. But hey-ho, we're all busy. It's fine. Too busy making all your amazing LinkedIn videos and coming up with your top 5 tips for every week. Louise says it's a ridiculous point of view that AI shouldn't be used for this reason. The first of many conversations like this, I fear. Bored already. Yep, I completely agree, Louise. But it's happening. The people out there, just naysayers and miserable people about technology.
They want to find a reason, don't they? I was in an AI group for ICAW the other day, and there was this very old school accountant, lovely fella, but he kept bringing up that, why should we be letting AI come in and steal our jobs and all this that, and the other? And it was that, they're looking for the reasons to put the negativity on, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Look at our YouTube video the other day. So those of you who aren't aware, we did an interview as a podcast pit stop with Phil Hogan. Fantastic little interview. We did a short from it, and one of the shorts was about his top 3 reasons for loving AI. And within an hour, it got over 2,000 impressions, and he got quite a lot of hate on YouTube in the comments because of it. Because he said AI won't cost people jobs. And all of these people jumped on going, yes, it will, blah, blah, blah. We've already seen people losing jobs because of AI. But when you read their comments, they were all about things such as marketing and advertising and stuff like that. Whereas Phil's comments were about the accounting industry. They'd taken it out of context. So we can see, for us, normally we get 50 or 60 impressions on a short on YouTube. To get 2,000 in an hour, we were like, oh my God. We thought we'd made it. But the overall thing is people are hating AI. And I'd argue they're the minority, but the loudest. And I think, AI's got a huge place. And I'm excited for next year and where AI brings us, to say the least. Any other comments on that, Aaron?
I think Louise has got it spot on, right? It's just going to be the fact that we're just going to take these sort of comments and we're just going to take them with a pinch of salt, aren't we? Unfortunately, it's going to be the conversations topic that's going to drive the negativity around it, because that's what people are going to pick up on. That's what people are going to talk about. I'm surprised it's not got further in this the story that you've got. I'm surprised that's not been doing its round a bit more, because we already know negativity sells, right? So the first time that we've got an opportunity to be negative about AI, it's going to absolutely dominate the conversation. So I think we've just got to do what we're doing, like keep talking about the positivity, to keep talking about how excited we are. And I know pretty much every person in the conversation that we're having here and everyone that's listening live and will listen later in the same boat. Yeah. It's all about positivity, isn't it? We're all excited for it. So we just need to keep trying to push that positivity as much as possible. And
exactly.
Let the negative naysayers do what they want.
Let's go back to the comments then. So I'll just go off Instagram first, because we've got more comments from Instagram. So Bookkeepers Detox, this has just made my Monday morning. Thanks, guys. There we go. put a smile on someone's face. They followed that up by saying we need to look outside the box of how to use AI. It's an amazing tool and very supportive tool. We need to learn how to use it to work for you. One size does not fit all. Very true. Very true. Okay, and then on the main comments board, this is going to get hard work, Aaron. Morning, lads, from Adam. Loving the Christmas hats. Thank you very much. I'll go down to Paul's comment first, and then we'll come back to Clive's comment.
Yep.
People who don't fully understand something generally hate it at first. Very true. Change is scary, and people don't. I mean, most people don't like change. The accounting and bookkeeping industry are convinced it's the asteroid that's going to take out their industry, like it took out the dinosaurs. But never mind.
It's the next abacus, isn't it? Remember the abacus came along?
Yeah, like the calculator that was going to do us all in.
Go too far, you know. They're still covering of the abacus. Yeah.
Right, Clive has come. Clive, basically our Irish reporter. So Clive has been out and about. So last week, Xero had a 3.5 days event in Ireland. Oh, 3 half-days events in Ireland. So they were in Dublin, Cork, and Limerick. Very nice. For their Xero partners and developments for the Irish market. They are launching FRS 105 micro accounts production from Xero and submit straight to CRO company, which is our company's house in the UK.
Yep.
Backed by OmniPro templates. They're doing Irish VAT and VAT returns via plugin developed by Payroller. They've also set up an Irish advisory council as well. I wasn't at the event myself, but it's a huge shift in direction over here. That's major. Like, that's a big play for a market that QuickBooks hasn't really done much in.
No.
Like, I know the challenge is that it sounds like it shouldn't be different, but it is. So, like, while the Client Engager released its client portal app on Friday, which has been a huge success, but then we realised people in Ireland can't access it because it's in the UK App Store.
Oh,
so
is that how
we're
works?
Like, oh, that's a but it's the same part of an island, like, but there's just a geofencing issue there. So yeah, Ireland is surprisingly cut off in the tech world from the UK, and everyone just assumes. I think everyone just assumes, well, if it's in Northern Ireland, surely it's an island, and it completely isn't. It's a really interesting scenario for technology, apps, softwares, etc. So that's a big play by Xero to take on that market space, because Irish accounting and bookkeeping hasn't had the love of technology it needs to modernize and bring it in line with the rest of the UK over the years. So that's interesting.
I'm
We'll have to keep an eye on that.
I'm surprised Sage has never jumped in that market. You would have thought that would be an easy win for them, wouldn't you? Like Xero seems to be the first one, or at least one of the major ones to go in there. But I'd imagine like Sage would make sense, right? Like it's next door to them. So yeah.
I mean, the question is, Clive, is that a big enough play for you to stop using QuickBooks and start looking at Xero? Because there's no talk from QuickBooks about accounts production and company's house submissions and stuff. So that'd be interesting to see if that kind of triggers those thought paths.
Yeah, because they're kind of they're definitely keeping Ireland in the rest of the world at the moment, aren't they? Ireland's part of the rest of the world package. That's the software that you get, and yeah, there'll be some localizations, but I can't imagine that they would be pushing into that anytime soon. Maybe that's something we're not aware of, but yeah. Oh, Sage are huge there, says Chris.
There we go. Mr. Sage, Chris Downing himself has pumped in saying Sage are there and we're huge. Yep, there we go. That just tells you how much we don't know about the Irish market. Like, we know QuickBooks are there, but it's the rest of the world product. We now know Sage is there, and maybe that's Xero's target, is to try and take some of that market space by doing this. Who knows? But that's going to be one to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see what happens. As per usual, Chris says, as per usual, Sage just don't shout about it. They just get on with it. So, which is very much a Sage thing. So yeah, right. Okay. Let's just check in Instagram comments. Dave wants to know where to follow us on Instagram. Well, you can find myself under my name, Johann Gori, and on Instagram. Aaron, what's your hashtag or your @ or whatever they call it on
Aaron
Instagram?
Patrick _ QBC for QuickBooks Chat. So easy
There we
to
go.
find. Easy.
There we go. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Okay, so next bit of news. Now we really need to take these hats off and put our tinfoil hats on for this one. But last week we saw a bit of an odd announcement, and we saw the headline and went, okay, fine. But now we're looking at it and you read the headline, read the article, and it's like, oh. So last week, PwC announced a partnership with Starling Bank, which, when you think of it, it's like, cool. You know, what accounting firm isn't partnered with Starling Bank? It's all it means is that you recommend Starling Bank to your client base. But then when you read into it, this isn't just Starling Bank they've partnered with. This is the SaaS software that Starling Bank have built and used to launch Starling Bank. This article from Accountancy Age reads that basically PwC seem to be looking to spin off their own banking arm using the technology that was built and powered to use Starling. Aaron, what are your thoughts on a Big Four accounting firm having its own banking division?
Well, my tinfoil hat or thinking about this is that they've always wanted to get the smaller accountants clients, right? I think the theory is that they'll be using Starling for the bigger boys, but I can't see that myself. I just feel like the bigger clients that they would have, they're going to be with more, you know, they're going to want account managers. They're going to want everything else that's there. But
And lending
PwC
provisions.
Exactly right. But PwC, KPMG, all of the top four, they would love to have a presence in the smaller market, right? In our clients, basically, smaller to SMEs. Now, what if this is not just a play on offering them a banking solution, but they're really interested in the bookkeeping, or FMS as we call it now, financial management solution. And this is their play on creating an all-in-one solution that you get the PwC bank, you get the PwC software that's in it, and they can deliver tax returns and accounts and all the compliance work directly through that. Because if they're clever about it, they can hold all of it. It's this dream that we had about QuickBooks Bank two years ago, a year ago, whatever it was,
Yep.
right? But they could offer that in their FMS. They can then offer communication in their FMS. They could own the whole pie, and if they're clever about it enough, using a bit of AI, using everything else, they could really automate SMEs, right? They could make a real powerful play there if that's what they're going for. So that's my tinfoil hat. I think they're going for the lower end of the spectrum, and this is how they want to like get in there in a clever way that they can be more automated for it. But what's your thoughts? Do you think it's more mid-market, or do you think they would go for the like higher market clients with this?
I don't think Starling Bank can handle the higher market because they can't handle group structures and stuff. So I don't know if their technology can properly do it. But
I think it's just now they can't, isn't it? That they said in the future they want to, don't they? And that they're looking into it. So
PwC, KPMG, etc. They've tried to break into the SME market so many times, whether it's launching FMS apps themselves, whether it's buying up and acquiring firms that are good at SME and have a bit of a presence, and whether it's launching whole new services and brands. It's just none of them have ever done very well with it. And I think that's because the leadership and the people behind those brands don't understand SMEs. They're far too busy, like anything that doesn't need auditing, and they're like a bit confuddled by it all. I mean, you might argue they're not overly good at auditing either, based on the news with certain auditing scandals, but never mind. But yeah, this is probably this will be the first time we've seen a Big Four try to break into the SME market through a banking provision. And
I mean, that's our tinfoil hat opinion, isn't it?
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's it. But and when you look at it, like Free Agent have certainly tried to expand their reach to SMEs through the provision of metal and their partnership there. QuickBooks obviously saw a value in it, and that's why they were looking to try and bring QuickBooks banking to the UK. Yeah, maybe that is the inroad, but no one's made a success of it yet. And then you look at... Go on.
All I would say is that it's a clever way of doing it. If you can, it's, you know, the QuickBooks bank philosophy was sold us 10 times over, right? You know, if they go as far as, I mean, Tide are offering the opportunity now, aren't they? Where, and they've done it for a while now, where you can, you know, create your business through them and a bank at the same time. Imagine PwC had that solution where it was, get your PwC bank, we'll set up your business, we'll run your business for you, blah 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 blah, or for a fixed fee that comes straight out your bank, you don't even see it come out, sort of thing. Like, that could be really powerful, right? That could be the new way of smaller businesses just going, you know what, all I need to do is get one app on my phone, download it, job done, and off to the races I go.
Yep, definitely. It's an interesting angle, and they could probably price competitively as well.
Yeah,
like the bookkeeping, the accounting side of things, to undercut people like ourselves. But as we say, this is all tinfoil hat moments. It's just an interesting partnership to announce, and the bit that really struck us was more that it sounded originally through the headline that they recommend Starling to their clients. That's not really newsworthy, but when you read into it, and it's like actually they've partnered with the software that powers the banking provision.
Yeah,
that's the bit that makes you go, ooh, and start coming up with all sorts of weird and wonderful ideas.
And it's interesting, isn't it, when you've got Starling now having this partnership with PwC, or PwC taking the Starling approach and going down that route, and you had Monzo having that acquisition by Alphabet, Google. What, you know, they're going to go in completely different ways now, aren't they? They're going to go like complete, and all that's going to do is give more features and everything else that the rest of them need to adopt as well. So it's got to be a good thing. Do you reckon that anyone would look to come into Tide or Revolut or any of the other challenger banks, or do you think it's let's let PwC do what they do, see if they make a mistake or not, or see if it works, and then follow suit later?
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because for years we've sat here and, as an industry, and gone, well, those banks are trying to cut into our lane because they're offering very basic, but they are offering some kind of FMS solution of tracking receipts and stuff, and we can't get access to those as the accountant and bookkeeper. They never built that access route for us. So for us to then suddenly be cutting into their lane is quite an interesting change in direction.
Okay, tinfoil hat moment. If Tide or Revolut or any of those other two players, or even Starling themselves, turn around and says, right, we can white label you a bank and a FMS solution for X amount, and they kept it competitive, would you be interested for your smaller clients, especially with MTD coming along?
I think the biggest problem you've got is trust and brand trust. So I always say this about, oh Christ, what's this note? Practice management portals, right? There's a lot of firms out there, including yourself, who are quite happy to white label a practice management portal, right? And have it completely Boffix related. Nothing, you wouldn't know who's providing that.
Yep.
Whereas I was always of this opinion that GDPR, data protection, online security, cybersecurity is not my thing as a firm. I should be focused on accounts, bookkeeping, taxes, supporting the client. Why would I want the clients to think I'm also dabbling with this stuff? Actually, I want my clients to know this is backed up by a recognizable and trusted brand that's providing the provision. When you then look at banking, surely that's even more true. Like Tide, Starling, Metal, etc. They didn't have an instant boom of growth. It took time for them to build trust and brand recognition for people to go, oh yeah, I know who they are. I'm happy for them to hold my money. I still speak to people today who say, oh, I don't trust these challenger banks. Like, I want my money with a high street bank. You know, the high street banks that keep going bust and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter because they've got decades of brand awareness. So I wouldn't personally turn around and go, On Point Accounting offers banking services through On Point Accounting banking. Like that.
What, even if it was powered by Tide or powered by Revolut?
If it wasn't a completely bespoke white label, if it was powered by Tide, powered by we'd probably would look at it. But again, I know the amount of friction we still get against recommending those challenger banks, and people go, no, I'm going to go with the high street bank. And when we look at
technically, we're not allowed to recommend, are we?
Yeah,
we can just
exactly. There's a whole FCA
in the right direction. Yeah,
IFA thing there. So, would we do it that way? I don't know. I don't think there'd be enough adoption to justify the costs.
Even with MTD around the corner, you don't think MTD would have a bearing on it?
When I look at if I look at all the clients that we've got across all the FMS solutions, I would say 50-60% are still with high street banks. Even though all we hear about is Starling and stuff, it's a vocal minority. So I sit there going, that's a hard sell to get them from a high street bank onto this. Like, is it worth it? I don't know. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to see what PwC do with this, if anything, because we are fully aware the Big Four quite happily partner up with people and then nothing happens. So we'll see if anything actually happens here. But yeah, it's an interesting inroad to the SME market if that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, because in theory they could offer a whole solution, right? They could be the CFO for you if they do this right, because they can make payments, they can do all sorts, can't they? They can run payroll and make the payroll. It would be really powerful. Yeah, we'll see what happens, but interesting.
Yeah, it's a very it was an interesting article to read, put it that way. Cool. Okay, so let's quickly go through the comments before we move on. Nothing new on live video from Instagram, but so Kirsty's put our links in for both our Instagram accounts there. Thank you very much, Kirsty. Sue Green says, ouch, I'm late. Morning, guys. That's all right, Sue. I assume you were opening your tea advent calendar and posting about the tea of the day. We watch what our fans are doing on social media. Paul says a lot of my clients dabble in a challenger bank and generally keep their high street banks for the main income. Yeah, a lot of people do that. Like, we see a lot of people where they like the accessibility of like Starling, Tide, or Metal, but their trust still sits with a high street bank. So the majority of their money comes into a high street bank and they transfer amounts out every now and then to their challenger bank to make easy payments on the go and stuff like that. It is quicker and easier that way. So I get it.
At Bofix, we have a high street bank as our main bank and challenger banks as our expense accounts, because that's the easy, right? You do virtual cards and add users easy and add them and take them away whenever you need to. So it just makes sense, doesn't it, to do it that way?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, definitely does. Okay. So we're halfway through the show, give or take a bit. Let's talk 2024 and what's coming up in 2024 that we're excited about. So there's a few things already going into our diaries that we can't quite talk about yet. But yeah, it's going to be a busy year of travel, isn't it, Aaron? And on top of the conferences and everything else we're doing, we seem to be booking more stuff into the diary as well. So we're off to go and see the Killers in Manchester in June. That'll be fantastic. We're off to go and see the F1 at Silverstone in July, which will be incredible. So yeah, the diaries are filling up quickly for 2024, but we can now announce our first, well, not the first event we're going to be doing, but one of the first ones. So we're pleased to say that the podcast pit stops are coming back. They complete success over at Accountex Manchester, weren't they? We're still pumping out episodes. I think we've got another 2 to go over the next 2 weeks. But we will be bringing the podcast pit stops back at Fab. So in March, we will be in Birmingham at the Fab event, Festival of Accountants and Bookkeepers, and we will be podcast pit stopping both days, all day, both days. So we're hoping to get about 6 months worth of content out of this. So if you're a bookkeeper or an accountant and you want to have a 20-30 minute interview with one or the other or both of us, depending on what we're doing for the rest of the day, watch out for the links closer to the time so you can book in. Now, to give you an idea of how in demand these are, we put the link out live 6 o'clock the night before Accountex Manchester. By 9 o'clock, we were fully booked. So, that's it, 3 hours and we were fully booked. We felt a bit like the Killers, really, didn't we? A celebrity status there. But yeah, if you are coming to Fab in March, and it's sounding like a great event, like some of the stuff they're announcing over the coming days and weeks it really shows the different angle they're taking on this compared to everyone else. Now, as a whole, you and I still have an issue with the entire events industry of the accounting world clumping everything so close together and not spreading it out as much as we'd like. But as an individual event, regardless of timing, Fab's sounding like it's going to be a brilliant event. And in our defense, yes, we slated it when they first came up. We didn't slate the event. We just slated the timings of all the events this year. And the name baffled us. But yeah, the more I'm seeing and hearing, the name makes more sense, shall we say.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be a fantastic 2-day event. We will be there podcasting, not live, we're just recording. So what will happen is you can book a slot in our diaries, come along, everyone gets the same set of questions. We then create and launch a new episode for each person that's been on. And the idea really is to give people a platform to have as a social media content for their websites, for their social medias, etc. In a way, perhaps most people don't get to do. Like, Aaron and I are extremely privileged and lucky to be able to do this every week and to be in a position to be able to do that. We get not everyone's going to have that platform, or they're not going to maybe have the confidence to do it. So that's why we do these podcast pit stops. It's a fixed questionnaire, as it were, fixed set of questions. It's very short. It's very informal, very friendly. We just ignore the free cameras and the producer sat on the side playing with the camera angles and the volumes and stuff. And it's just a chat. But it provides a nice little bit of content for you to promote on your social medias, your website, etc. And it's free of charge, which makes it even better, right? So yeah, Aaron, March, podcast pit stops. Looking forward to it.
And without spoiling too much, producer Lizzie has outdone herself with the swag. There is,
we've achieved something we promised we would.
Yes, we loved our swag at Accountex Manchester, Accountex North, and I feel like we've taken that to a new level, which will be exciting to see. Again, without spoiling too much from the shows we've just done, where we talked about the pre-recorded we've just done for the Christmas period. Yeah, I'm very excited, and I explain more in there about the whole concept of it. Like, I think the industry, it's the one that's going to intrigue me the most this year, which I'm excited to see how that kind of comes through. So and we'll be doing our podcasts, our pit stop podcast. No, got the wrong
podcast pit stops.
No,
our grid walk.
Grid walk, that's the one. Yeah. So we're going to do the grid walk. So I'm looking forward to that's going to be an exciting one, right? Brand new venue, brand new area. That that grid walk's going to be exciting to do. So yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait. Glad we've got that one all done and dusted, and yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's the first of a lot of events that are already going into the diary. So keep your ears peeled for the latest news from us on that one. So with the first event scheduled in properly and official and announced, we wanted to have a quick look at things we're looking forward to in 2024. So there's lots and lots of really cool updates that we know are coming, but we're under non-disclosure agreements because we are providing insights and being asked questions on stuff. So we do a lot of this feedback stuff, don't we? Of developers will come and speak to a group of accountants and bookkeepers, and we're privileged enough to be in that group quite often. And they go, we're thinking of doing this. And you go, that's daft. That's not even a problem you're trying to solve. You've listened to one person and spun it into a whole thing. Through to, we're going to do this. It's like, that's cool. Now, this is how you should do it. Or the way you're doing it's great, but we think we need to tweak it slightly to make it actually applicable in the workplace. Because a lot of developers, they develop a fantastic tool, but they don't develop it from the point of view of the person sat using it on a day-to-day basis. They think they know best. Like QuickBooks has got this whole thing, haven't they, of the follow me home, where they're developers that should go in and follow accountants and bookkeepers through their day to see how they can better improve things to make that a more slicker experience for them to use the tool. And that's becoming more and more of a thing in the software world for the accounting and bookkeeping industry. And I think that's a fantastic thing. But there are some things that have been said publicly that we're very excited about. So my first thing for 2024 that I'm very excited to see how it goes, just because they've nailed what they do so well now, and that's Apron and what they're calling Snap. So Apron currently does all your bill payments and payroll payments, and it goes into your accounting software, or your FMS software, should I say, pulls off all the documents that you've put in there through using Dext or auto entry or something, rereads them, pulls out the banking data, and reaffirms totals and stuff, and then you can pay them from it. Well, if they're already doing that OCR stuff, it made sense to them to then build what they're calling Snap. So you're technically getting rid of an app by doing this. So Apron Snap is their answer to auto entry, Dext, receipt capture, free agents receipt capture. Like, this is they are trying to get in on the journey earlier for that document. So at the moment, they're having to pick it up from the accounting software. They're proposing, well, people can take pictures with their app. That will go into the accounting software for processing and bookkeeping work to be done. But it will also then create the bill payments option if you need to. Obviously, if it's a receipt, then you don't. But yeah, Apron Snap. And they reckon it's going to be March next year, which is even more exciting. Aaron, thoughts on Apron Snap and challenging that market space, which has been pretty well sewn up for a while? Like, there's not been any really new entries that have done well or survived in this space after auto entry, Dext, HubDoc, receipt capture have kind of sewn it up.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I just did a video based on all the different receipt captures out there. So I did a little challenge off, and auto entry versus Dex versus receipt capture versus HubDoc versus, tried to do free agents, but yeah, less said that about the bear. But the idea was to see which is the best, like which is the most accurate. And they are very, very similar. There's not much in it. There was a few gremlins that had to be ironed out. But one thing was definitely the most apparent was that other than QuickBooks, where it was just built in and it just worked and it was just there, the rest of them already had some sort of element where there was a barrier to entry of some sort, if it was having to download a bit of software or getting them signed up or whatever it was going to be. And most of the time, that's just your onboarding process, right? And if you've got a slick onboarding process, you kind of just know you accept as a bit of pain, but you'll get your client onto there one way or another. But I think with Apron, the difference is they nail that user experience. That's what they're doing well at the moment. That's why they're getting the traction they are. So if anyone can come out there and find a slick way to onboard these people, and it's giving them another reason to do it, isn't it? It's not just, oh, I'm taking this photo because it's going to be easier for my accountant to do my VAT return, or for myself to do my VAT return, or to help with my tax return later down the line, or whatever it's going to be. No, they're taking photos to then enable them to be able to make payments much easier going forward. And I think that whole process, that mind shift, would be a much easier sell to your client, right? Use this piece of software we're going to give you. Here's the sign up. Again, every confidence is going to be a slick onboarding experience. But not only will we get the information we need to complete your compliance work, but you're then going to have a really slick way of making payments as well. And to me, that's a really clever way of getting buy-in for it. And I think that's where they're going to have a better opportunity for us as the accountants to sell their service, because we're not just providing them a OCR tool, which, clients understand and clients get, but also clients feel like that's one extra step for them, isn't it? Oh, I'm doing this to help it easier for you, whatever their reasons are. Where this one, they're going, actually, we're taking a photo and we're bringing it in, and then we can make the payment as well. It's just a much cleaner solution, I think. So yeah, for me personally, I think this is going to be one where we're gonna see a whole shift, and hopefully for the better, for that whole industry, which you said has already been sewn up. And I'm hoping the rest of them go, oh, okay, right. So they're doing it this way and they're doing it that way. Let's integrate, and then hopefully all of them are going to improve because of it.
Yeah, I think the whole space has got a bit stale. Like Dexter's latest revelation is mileage tracking. It's like, okay, I kind of see why that you need to do mileage tracking when you're doing receipts and bills and stuff. But yeah, hopefully Apron comes in and shakes up the industry a bit, and gives a bit of innovation to it, because it's got a bit stagnant in that little space recently.
Yeah.
So I think I've only really got.
Just so we know how good their technology is already. Like, you extract the information from it, it's pretty powerful already, isn't it? And they're taking the photo that's been provided by a different solution, whatever that solution is going to be. So yeah, I feel like it's going to be good. And I know that they've started to push for more practice-based solutions as well. So they brought out their practice dashboard and everything else. So they feel like they're a software that's on our side. And I think that's a good thing to see, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and because I know how responsive they are to feedback. So yeah, it's been an impressive year for them. Right, one other area that I'm looking forward to, and that is the continued advancement of TOD, so Tax on Demand's AI tool. So it launched a few months ago, and it's basically consumed all the legislation of tax law. They've like 61,000 pages of tax law has been consumed by it, ready for them to be able to answer questions. And I know the next step for them is to consume all the case studies and the cases that have been put forward and won at HMRC, so that not only when you ask it a question will it be able to come back and say, this is the legal side, it will come back and go, and these are the cases that back that up and justify it. So maybe if the person that put 6 false cases forwards had used Todd instead of ChatGPT, I mean, maybe they wouldn't have been in such a mess. But yeah, the industry-specific AI, I'm very excited to see where that goes. And yeah, Todd is well on the way there. I mean, I think Todd's the only one I've really come across that has got industry-specific information and knowledge, that it's not just gleaned, like it's not gleaned any of that off the internet. It's been fed that directly, so it's UK based, not US or Australia or something weird like that. So yeah, that's proving to be a very useful tool. I'm looking forward to seeing that advance in the coming months and years.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how their monetization really plays out, isn't it? Because they've got to monetize it. We know that. And I know they've kind of.
They've been quite open how they're going to do that. So the plan is that you're going to be able to upload or ideally link through an API, but we know accounts and tax production softwares aren't overly friendly with APIs. The plan is you would put in
sorry.
We would put in like a CT600 and a set of accounts into Todd, and Todd will go, this will be their paid for model, and Todd will analyze those and suggest ways you could potentially reduce their tax, or conversation points to have with the business owner about reducing their tax in future years if it's too late already. And again, I'm really looking forward to that. That could be an incredible bit of software. We just need to see it in practice, and we need to actually see it come live.
Yeah. And how streamlined that's going to be, isn't it? Because that'll make or break that solution, right? It's how many barriers of entry to get to that point to say X, Y, Z, whatever the solution is going to be. If it's a slick and as simple as I just upload it to my practice management solution and it will extract it and do the same, great, because it's already part of my workflow. But if it's I've got to put it to this other practice portal and I've got to put it through here and extract this and wait this time and all that lot, you may find that that's too much of a barrier of entry for people to justify the price, right? Whatever the price is going to be. So I feel like that's going to be the really interesting bits, how they tackle that, because that's a really difficult workflow to bring into play, right? So it'll be interesting to see how they bring that in.
Yeah, definitely. Paul has just said, I like Todd, but its responses are very static. You can ask the same query in 3 different ways and get the same response word for word. I would hope so. But if anything, I'd say that's intelligent, that it can do that because we can all phrase questions in the different ways, but ultimately the answer, if it's the same query, the answer should always be the same. And that's one of the things I don't like about ChatGPT is you can ask the same question exactly the same way, and every time it comes back with a different answer, and that gives you you aren't confident in the result. Whereas that's what I love about Todd is it doesn't matter how I or any of my team phrase the question, the answer comes back as the same because it's the right answer. So yeah, but yeah, no, I think, and when it gets its case studies and stuff like that, it will be very, very much more powerful and more useful for us as well on a more day-to-day basis. Now, Aaron, what are the things you're looking forward to in 2024?
Well, I've done a video on it, so it will be coming out. For me, QuickBooks have got a very interesting SKU over in the US that they're going to be bringing over to UK, and that SKU is general ledger. So the idea is that if you think about the SKUs at the moment, you've got your simple start all the way to
let's step in here a moment. Sorry, we'll get rid of the jargon. A SKU is a version of software. So QuickBooks Simple Start, QuickBooks Advanced, QuickBooks Pro, like they're all what QuickBooks call SKUs. So let's break down the terminology for the audience, Aaron. Come on.
Just about to do that, in fairness. But yes, Simple Start all the way to Advanced, and they're going to be bringing in one that goes below Simple Start. So the idea is that this is the simplistic version of QuickBooks. And don't worry, it's not QuickBooks Self-Employed before everyone gets all upset and starts crying into their Cocoa Pops this morning. No, this is a slimmed down version of Simple Start, which is designed not to have client interaction, as in it's not designed to pass it to your client so they go in and start putting information in. It's purely for you as the accountant to utilize. And the reason that gets me excited is because that means that work papers becomes more accessible to more people and for more use cases. And that really does excite me, because I'm at a position now where I use work papers for 90% of my clients, and I've still got 10% of them that just not viable to give them a license they're never going to use. Well, General Ledger solves that and brings that in. It's quirky. There's a few things, and I won't ruin it for the video, but there's a few things I was a little bit confused about. There's a few things that I was a little bit kind of taken back by what was there. But in the majority of it, the idea that we've got this really cost-effective entry-level version of QuickBooks that we can use for every single client out there has me very, very excited. So yeah, QuickBooks General Ledger. We believe it comes in next year. I can't believe it won't be coming into next year. We don't know.
The impression we got from the QuickBooks Connect event in Las Vegas, wasn't it? It's coming to America now, and
Yeah.
we'll
UK
bring
and
it out
Canada.
to Canada, America, and Australia, Canada, UK, and Australia, and stuff in the near future.
Yeah,
which
and
normally
we
implies
believe their future is yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they got fixed asset register out in that time frame, didn't they? For better or for worse, but they got a fixed asset in the same time frame. So, yeah, let's hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, it's already built, it's there, it just needs to be localized. So, yeah, fingers crossed on that one, because I generally think that's going to be a massive game changer. I feel like that's an opportunity for a lot of firms to really move over to working papers, and honestly, working papers is my favorite part about QuickBooks. So at this point in time, it's just really streamlining a lot of stuff for us. So the fact that that could be more accessible to more people, I think it's really good. I think they'll give a big shot in the arm for the industry, which we like to see.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really excited by general ledgers. Xero have had a solution like this of general ledgers for a long time. So it's nice that QuickBooks are finally doing it. And I think they've realized there's a place in the market for that, and not every client wants access to their books. I mean, I always went on the attitude that every client should have access if they want access. But after 5 years of chanting that, I've now decided not all clients want access, and that's fine, and never will want access, and that's fine. So we'll find a cheaper solution in the form of QuickBooks General Ledgers.
And just to clarify, per the US version, they do have access so that they can attach their bank or whatever and see reports, but they can't raise invoices or anything like that. It is just a almost read-only view, which is exactly what we want for, like you said there. Like, yeah, that's what you want for clients, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, folks. Well, that is the end of this week's session. This is the last live of 2023. Don't worry, it's not the last live ever. It's the last live of 2023. We've been proactive. We've done a BBC special and pre-recorded some Christmas and New Year specials. So, whilst we take a break, over the next 2 weeks, you are still going to get plenty of content from us. So we've got 2 episodes of podcast pit stops coming out with the wonderful Kirsty and the wonderful Penelope. So they'll be out over the next 2 weeks before the end of the year. But on top of that, we have got a Christmas special, which is ready to go, almost. That will be going out on, did we say Boxing Day, Aaron?
Yeah, it was. I mean, we could bring it out on Christmas Day if we go for the Monday, but
I think Boxing Day, so we can nurture a hangover and a food coma with it. So we've got that one on Boxing Day, and then on New Year's Day, we've got a New Year special where we highlight through some awards the highlights of 2023 for us. So we've looked at the best tech, the unsung features of the year, best events, etc. A few joint awards because we couldn't agree between us who should get what. But we also then take a look forward at 2024 and what we're looking forward to event-wise and stuff like that. So that should be a good episode to be able to nurse another hangover with, basically. We're here to support your hangovers, basically. That's what we're trying to do. And then we will be back live as per normal on, he says, where's his calendar? That's this week, that's that week. So we will be back live on the 8th of January, streaming across all of these multiple of channels, including Instagram, which has been, it's not failed. Everything, it looks good to me so far. Everything's worked. The only shame is it's not put into this feed. Pardon?
They're about to get kicked off. We're on 59 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So without further ado, we'll run the credits. But from Aaron and myself, we'd like to wish everyone a very, very happy Christmas and a happy New Year. We will see you all live again on Monday, the 8th at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy Christmas and have a good New Year. As I provide the outro. Bye.